Thank you for coming today, and we're so excited to ask you some questions and learn more about your war experience.
My pleasure.
Mr. Fields has a rich background filled with many experiences and memories. During the 1920s, there was a prohibition of alcohol. Women were granted the right to vote, and the American stock market crashed, onsetting the Great Depression. Amidst the chaos, Mr. Fields was born on August 25th, 1924, in Glendale, California. He has one sister who is younger than him, and he lived a conservative life. At age 18, he was drafted into the Army and put through specialized training, being a machine gunner and mortar. The only family he had that had ever served other than him was his cousin Jackie, who served in Europe. Mr. Fields had to adapt to war life, being immediately immersed in the Army. So, were you drafted or enlisted into the service? Drafted or enlisted into the service?
Oh, I was drafted.
What was it like departing for your training camp and the early days of training?
I had 10 days to get rid of a bunch of cattle and hurried to our induction center, and then put us on a train and sent us to our training center at Camp Roberts, California.
Oh. Was there any specific specialized training for you?
Mortar and machine gunner.
How was it adapting to military life? Did you like it or no?
It wasn't bad. It was good training.
What was like the food like and the physical regimen and the barracks?
Well, when we were in basic training, the food was good and the accommodations were pretty good in the barracks, but got into combat, it wasn't quite the same.
Do you have any stories from this time? What about the kangaroo story that you had?
That was when I was in Australia, a kangaroo, yes. Yeah, that was Rocky. We were in Rockhampton, Australia, and we got there, and Rocky would always stand in line with us at for the mess hall. And when we got all through, the mess sergeant would always feed him, and he knew it, so he thought that was great.
Mr. Cedric Fields served in many places, including New Guinea. Departing for training camp in a foreign country meant lots of changes for Cedric. It was his first time out of the U.S. Although he didn't serve on the front line in the war, while he was with his squad one day, he was just him, his machine gun, and his commoners that were with him, and a sniper snuck up on him and shot him. The men around him were like brothers to him and immediately helped him after the tragedy. Having such a strong relationships with these men, it didn't make up for the absence of his family, who he missed so much. To keep in touch with his loving family members, he wrote many, many letters to them describing his war experiences.
How did you stay in touch with your family and friends during your service?
Mail. It was slow, but we'd write letters and we'd get mail.
Are these some of the letters they sent you? Or you sent them?
Yes. Well, yes.
Did you write to them a lot? Or did they write to you?
Well, it looks like I wrote a few.
Yeah.
But when I was in the hospital, I had more time to do it. Before that, in basic training I did too, but I was right here in California, so.
Although the war was brutal, there was minimal time for recreational activities, such as spending time with his squad. He built very strong relationships with the people in his squad due to the time they spent together and how much they relied on each other to survive. However, since technology was not advanced during the time of the war, it was extremely difficult for him to keep in contact with his squad. When he left and got shot in New Guinea, he never saw anyone again. He did encounter one friend in the hospital in Spokane, and then he joined Mr. Fields at Fort MacArthur. He was in the hospital for 1 year and 1 day. Mm-hmm. Did you have any recreational time during your service?
Yeah, we'd have Well, training, we'd have time off, but once we got into combat areas, we didn't.
Yeah. How did you return home? Like,
By from when I got
Yeah.
discharged,
yes.
by car. I had my own car on the base because the family lived in San Pedro and Fort MacArthur was San Pedro, so
Cool.
I was already a few miles from home.
Yeah, that's good.
When you got home, how was it readjusting back to your normal life with your family and friends and everything?
Pretty easy. Yeah.
Like nothing's changed?
No, everybody was a little older, but had experienced things, but no, everything just was good.
When Cedric returned home, he drove by car due to the fact that his family lived in the same proximity of the base he recently lived at. He missed his family tremendously, but since they had the opportunity to write each other constantly during his war experience, they knew a lot about how it went. So when he came home, it felt like nothing had changed other than their appearances.
Were there any life lessons that you learned from your service?
Like just getting along with everybody.
Clearly, being in a war changes a person and who they are. You learn many morals and life lessons that are valuable for the rest of your life. In this situation, Cedric Fields learned how to get along with his comrades and work together to achieve a mission that could save his country. It was a life and death situation being in the war, and they had to work together to survive it. Through their hard work and training camps and always having each other's backs, they learned necessary life skills that helped them through the rest of their life. Even though they never saw each other again after he was shot and helped him get to the hospital, the impact of all the experiences from war and going through it hand in hand with each other changed the rest of his life.
Good.
How old were you when you got drafted into the war?
Boy, I'd have to stop and think. Probably about 18. I think I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
At the age of 18, most every boy in the United States either was drafted or enlisted into the Army. It was a sense of national pride to them. They saw posters and propaganda all over the United States saying things like, "Uncle Sam wants you," and "Enlist now," "The general supports it," or "The president supports it." It was a time where Mr. Cedric Fields had to think about his future, and unfortunately, he did not get to decide what he wanted to do, but he did develop a huge sense of national pride for his country by getting drafted into the Army and through his experience. World War II, also known as the Second World War, was a widespread global war that officially lasted from 1939 to 1945. It involved most of the world's nations, including great powers. It was the most widespread war in history and directly involved 100 million people from over 30 countries. 16.1 million Americans served in World War II, most of whom were drafted or enlisted men, led to doing so through propaganda and force. The number of people who served worldwide was 690 million. Mr. Cedric Fields was one of these men. He served just under 3 years in this brutal war, when the average amount of each U.S. citizen military serviceman served overseas during World War II was 18 months. Mr. Fields went above and beyond to serve his homeland, the United States of America. Overall, it was an absolute privilege to be in the presence of and to get to interview Mr. Cedric Fields. It was an honor to have the opportunity to be enlightened about what he went through in order to dedicate his life and service to the United States of America, the greatest country in the world, thanks to all the hard work and many lives devoted to making it the best country. We learned the true meaning of sacrifice through his stories And all in all, we are so grateful to have been a part of this amazing opportunity, and we'll cherish and remember it for the rest of our lives. Well, thank you for your time, and we're so excited to put this video together for you, and we were so intrigued by all of these questions and answers that you gave us.
Well, I'm very happy that I could do it, and I'm very pleased. I hope it works out well.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time and service.